So, is freelancing the same as remote work? And if you have been listening to me for a while, or as you get to know me, you might notice that I would keep mentioning freelancing and remote work, or having a remote career in the same sentence. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they are the same thing, right? And it might not even help that I even have a shirt on right now that says your freelance body, and like, okay, when she says freelance or when she says remote work or remote career, she means the same thing. No, they are different. So I'm creating this video to clear the air just in case you're confused about these two terms, freelancing and remote work. Hello and welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Blessing. This is the Creative Beam Corner, and here we talk about actionable tips and strategies for work from home moms. If you're a lady, even if you are not yet a mom or married, and you work from home, you're thinking of working from home, or you're thinking of making the transition from working from home back to the office, this channel is for you. If you're a guy, you're welcome to stay a while. Grab a pen and paper, because on this channel we take notes. So let's get into today's gist. Now let's start with the definition. First things first, what is freelancing? What is remote work? So if you are working remotely, in one sentence, I'm just going to say that you are doing a 9 to 5, but instead of going to the office physically, you are doing it from the comfort of your home. If you are a freelancer, it's more like being self-employed, okay? So you are running your business, you set the hours when you work, you set the price tag on your skill or skills that you offer, thereabouts. So, but in remote work, it really functions like a traditional office environment, just that you are working from home. You're on a paycheck, you have a boss, someone you report to, you have access to benefits that the company offers, all of that in between. So the similarity is that working from home applies to both freelancing and having a remote career, but it typically ends there, because when it comes to the structure and responsibilities, they are very different. So let's look at the differences. 1, job stability. Now, when you have a remote career, it gives you some sense of job security, and emphasis of sense of job security, because if you ask me, I'm one of the people that believe that there's nothing like job security in this world. Do you understand? Only security is in Jesus. But then you just have this kind of sense of job security as a remote worker, because you're like, okay, I can expect my monthly paycheck every month. But as a freelancer, some months you are having a lot of work to do. It feels like you're in cloud 9. You have projects, everyone is coming after you, giving you job left and right, and some other months can be like, God, I beg, where's the next job coming from? So it's a little bit unpredictable when it comes to freelancing. But with remote work, there's still some kind of predictability that you can come to expect when it comes to like having job offers, having jobs to do, and having money coming in month to month. So the next point I have written here is flexibility and independence. It differs between these two. So flexibility, there's some kind of flexibility you get in working a remote job, but the flexibility has to work within a defined parameter, and I will explain. So as you're working in that particular office, they have office hours, right? So during that office hours, you have to be reachable. So you cannot say that even though your office hours is from this time, well, me during that period I'll be asleep, nobody should disturb me. No, you have to be reachable during those office hours. Maybe if they need you to come in for a virtual meeting, or they need to ask you something, or they need you to submit something within those working office hours, you need to be reachable. As a freelancer, if you decide that, okay, I do my best work in the morning, afternoon and evening is for me, I don't do any work, you can do that with freelancing. You can work during your peak productivity hours. But when you are doing your remote work career, you can make it flexible in such a way that maybe there's some particular, like for me, I'm going to use myself as an example. Working as a freelancer fully, when I was working as a freelancer fully, I used to do like my best work at night when there's less noise. I feel like during that period nobody's distracting me, nobody's asking me questions and all of that about whatever they need. And then during the day I use it to do other things, go out, get things and all of that. But when I started having like, you know, some semblance of 9 to 5, which is like being in a remote work environment, I needed to rearrange that pattern. So what it needed me to fix that pattern, because the time when I want to sleep, that's the period that I know that, okay, I can't sleep during that period. I have to ensure that I'm awake. I have to be reachable during these hours. The time that before I used to say during the period I want to work, I actually sleep during that time. So it changes. So you can still put some flexibility to it, whereby you're like, okay, I know that maybe if you're working in another time zone, I know that, okay, from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. this company I work at, they need me to be reachable. But before 2 p.m. and 10 p.m, maybe I need to sort out some other things in the house, or I need to sort out some errands. You can do that. Or maybe there are even some things that work-wise you're like, okay, I function better in the morning, let me get this done in the morning. Then by the time work hours resume, I can use that to focus on meetings, catching up on other projects, and still find a way to put in some flexibility for other things I want to do. So that's the flexibility I'm talking about. I can still make it work for you as a remote worker. It's just that there are certain parameters, office policy, office work hours that you have to follow. Okay, so let's go to workload and stress levels. As a freelancer, you will juggle a lot. You know, you are the one in charge of marketing yourself, putting yourself out there so that you can find clients, so you can always ensure that you have projects in your pipeline. You are also in charge of your accounting. You are in charge of, you know, the rates you set, creating your invoices every month or every week based on the agreement you have with the clients, pursuing those invoices to ensure they get paid. Yes, that's real. And despite all of this, you still have to do the work, the actual work, and then meet deadlines. So sometimes it can be stressful juggling all of that and still trying to meet deadlines, especially when you are managing a lot of clients. So, but it depends on how you see it. It can be both stressful and exciting. Now, as a remote worker, all that is expected of you is to fulfill your job description. That's your focus. Fulfill your job description, what they paid you for. Every other thing about, okay, maybe this month you have so much work to do, or this month you don't have so much work to do, it's not really your business. Your own is at the end of the month or at the end of the week or whatever agreement you have, you get your paycheck. So the only like say where your stress might come from when you do your remote job is the fact that based on expectation or your workload. So the kind of job description, what's written in your job description, the kind of responsibilities you have to fulfill, and what is expected of you, or the targets or KPIs you're supposed to hit. Now that's where maybe you probably get your stress from, trying to hit that target. So but for freelancing, your stress will most likely be from, where's my next client going to come from? Okay, I've gotten this client now, I need to fulfill this. Okay, the job is done, I need to ensure that this invoice gets paid. Okay, I need to put myself out there, I need to go after all these opportunities. Get the difference line. So the next thing is growth opportunities. Now, if you ask me about the growth opportunities in freelancing, I would say, based on my own experience, while working as a freelancer, I got the opportunity to work with different clients, different industries, different parts of the world. And what that did for me is it opened different opportunities for me, networking opportunities. I was able to build like my professional network. I was able to also, gain different skills, pick up different skills as well. So it really helped me in speeding up my skill development. Now, with remote work, I would say when it comes to growth opportunities, there's more of like a defined part. If you're someone that you like structural growth path, like okay, from point A to point B to point C, I want to see how this aligns in my career, you're most likely to see that more within a remote work environment. And I will explain. So let's say you are a graphic designer and you started working with in a remote work environment. Now let's say after like 6 months or a year, you are doing great and you get promoted. You're more likely to get promoted to maybe a senior position, maybe senior graphic designer, and then after like a couple of months or a year or so, you get promoted to maybe another higher role, and then maybe after like a year or two, you get promoted to maybe even director level for graphic designing or creative design or something like that. So do you get the gist? From you get more opportunity to see how your career growth in a particular company can look like, or maybe even if you don't want to continue in that particular company, the different for example, maybe you've worked in a particular company for like maybe a year or 2 or 3 as a graphic designer, and then you want to apply for another role at another company. You can apply maybe for a senior role, and then maybe a senior graphic designer, I want to apply for another role at a company. You can apply as a senior graphic designer again, or you can even apply for a role higher than that, maybe like director of creative, whatever, creative design or whatever. So do you get it? So that is just like one of the differences I would say I have seen from my experience from doing both. So next, let's talk about the finance part, financial content. So for freelancing, I would say that with freelancing, your income can vary month to month, and it can both be exciting and it can both be stressful based on how it is. So let me give you an example. So as a freelancer, let me keep using the example of a graphic designer. Let's say you decided that, okay, I'm going to charge a naira 100,000 naira, or maybe $50 for every design work I do for a particular client. Maybe that's the base. Maybe if the work is a little bit more complex, you charge a little higher than that. Maybe you charge 150 or 200,000 naira or $100, depending. You have that rate. Now you decide that, okay, for my capacity level in a month, I can take up to 3 clients, or I can take up to 4 clients doing design work for them. Now with that, maybe each of these clients pay you $50 or $100 or 100,000 naira. You can see that you see yourself, your earning potential increasing from just having like a skill rate at $50 or 100,000 naira, and it can go as high as the number of projects you take on or the number of clients you work on, and that can vary months. But then there are some months there is no work, and that's just because that's how life is. Seasons come, seasons go, and you go from having 3-4 clients to maybe 2, maybe 1, or maybe even 0 for like a couple of months. And so that's where the income vary, where one month you can be smiling to the bank, and another month you can be looking unto Jesus and all of that. But in a remote work environment, you have like a fixed payment that is going to be coming to you every month. So as a graphic designer, you're working at the company and they tell you, okay, we're going to be paying you 250,000 naira, or we're going to be paying you $200, for example, per month. You that whether you have a lot of projects to work on with this company this month, or you don't have a lot of projects to work on with this company for this month, you get $200, or you get 250,000 naira coming to you per month. So there is that kind of expectations that you can come to like expect at that company, right? In addition to the other benefits that you can get, like paid leave or paid sick leave or vacation leave and all of that. In freelancing, you don't get that. You only get paid when you work. Okay, when you are sick and you take a sick leave, nobody's going to pay you for that. When you go on vacation, it's from your own pocket. You're going to have to settle that. So that's the difference in that situation. So for some people, what they do, which is also something that I kind of do sometimes, is that they have a remote job career to be able to have that predictability of having money coming every month, and then they have like a freelance gig by the side whereby they can have like some couple of projects that they have in just to supplement the income. Now the only thing here, the caveat here, is that you need to know that, because definitely you're going to have more expectations, more workload when you're working with a company, remote work job career. You cannot take on as much clients as you would when you're only freelancing. So maybe when you're freelancing, you could take up to 5 clients. You can't do that when you have a remote job opportunity. So probably that will reduce to 1 or 2, because at the end of the day, when you have a job opportunity, you have to know, except if you have plans of shifting fully back into freelancing and you want to leave the job career, you have to know that this shouldn't impact your other obligation. So there's that careful dance you have to play there. And finally, let's talk about support system. Whether you're freelancing or whether you are working remotely, there's always going to be that need for having a community or support system. So it's a bit easier when you're working remotely, because you have like colleagues. Even if you meet up with them virtually, you have colleagues you can interact with, you can talk to, and thereabout. Some companies even have virtual workspaces whereby you have somewhere you have to clock in at the particular time and clock out when the office hours are over. You can have virtual meetings on there. You can have avatars where you have like virtual office spaces, just to give a little bit vibe of connection. When you're freelancing, you need to be more intentional, maybe from building your network with your peers, other people that are freelancers, or having co-working, meeting people up at co-working spaces, networking, joining online communities, and thereabout. So there's a different way of how you can play at this, but you can still make it work. You just actually need to be part of a community, so it doesn't get isolating for you. So typically, if you are still wondering that, okay, blessing, I hear you, freelancing and remote work, they are different, but should I even work from start? Let's even get to the main gist, to the root of the matter. Should I work from home? If you are still thinking that, then that means you have not seen my previous video, Is Working From Home Right For You? So I'm going to link it in the comment below so you can check it out. So check it out, watch it, so that you know first if this is like working from home is even like a decision you want to consider at all. Alright, so that's all from me today. I hope you gained 1, 2, 3 or a couple of tips. If you have questions, comments, please drop them below, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.